Hi, it's Bri. Welcome to this podcast, this blog, this vlog, whatever this is going to be. Welcome to Bri Books podcast. Welcome to my YouTube, all of these places. Today I want to talk to you about a subject I'm very passionate about, and it's living alone. Living alone. Oh my gosh. I'm going to kick off what I'll go ahead and call as a series because I planned for it to be a series. I want to have some beautiful discussions about the gift that can be living alone and all the lessons I learned from it. So today I'm going to share a bit about my journey to living alone. I have had my own apartment, which I rent in the most gorgeous part of Brooklyn, I think, New York. And I've been here since, I'd say, October 2023. So at about a year and a half mark, I would say about at a year and a half of living alone, I have made my home in my own image. I love where I live. I'll do a bit of a tour soon as well. And maybe in this video I'll kind of go around to different rooms. But today I want to talk to you about the gift that is this experience of making my home and a bit of my living alone journey. So let me sneeze. Bless me, thank you. I'll just begin at the beginning. I moved into this apartment in October 2023. It hadn't been on my radar and hadn't been my plan. As a result of the ending of a relationship I was in, decided, you know what, fresh start, you have the opportunity, go ahead, move out, get your own place. Now, I'm leaving a little bit out of there just because this podcast is not a relationship podcast. It's not about things like that. But I will say that my journey towards having my own apartment and living in my own apartment in New York was an unexpected one, and one that I kind of made with a little bit of trepidation. However, at the end of the day, obviously it was the best choice, the choice that quite literally saved my life. And I want to share with you a bit of my journey. So, how I found this apartment. I'm not going to dox myself and say where I live, but I live in Brooklyn, New York. I found this apartment the old-fashioned way, street easy, Zillow. I was up one morning scrolling through apartments in my budget, looking for one bedrooms. Would have been okay to go with a studio, but I really wanted to find something that felt good. I had probably gone to see 8 apartments by the time I'd seen this one in different neighborhoods, just kind of seeing what my options were. And after a while, one morning, I was just scrolling on Zillow in the morning, very early. I found this apartment. It had only been up for a few hours, so I decided, you know what, take a chance. The views or the pictures, stunning. High ceilings. I'm looking around. It was like high ceilings, wooden floors, gorgeous wooden features, a newly renovated kitchen. Appliances were like new. Basically, I was probably the second person to ever use them if I were to be going with this apartment. So I saw it. The price was right. I remember the day I saw this apartment. It was an overcast day. It was not particularly pretty out. But I felt like, the subway just dropped me here. And I'm walking around, looking around. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Cool. I end up, obviously, walking into the apartment building and I'm thinking, all right, cool, pre-war building, nice, love that. Get into the unit, blown away. Instantly, the details and the fact that it's south-facing, has so much natural light, that I was truly sold. I was like, yep, I like it. What do you need from me? As things go in New York City, as always, moves fast, right? So, instantly had to get first, last, security, broker's fee, which is crazy. All this documentation, had to get all that together right away, quickly, probably within about a day and a half. I had no time to dither. And I remember after I saw this apartment and I did a video walkthrough of it and I really liked it, I sent videos to my family and some of my friends saying, I think this is my apartment. I think I want this one. And I literally claimed it. And I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. But I literally, as soon as I saw it, I was thinking, okay, I can handle this. This place can be my nest. This can be my cradle. This can be my castle. And that's where my journey began. So, I got all my ducks in a row, filled out the paperwork, was able to sign a lease on this apartment to rent it for a year. And that's when the real journey began, because I had to move out where I had been living, which was a whole ordeal, not just emotionally, but just logistically, right? Like moving it's a big process for most people, and I think for a lot of people when you move, um, there's a natural shedding that takes place, as it should. So I felt myself, not just shedding my belongings and my old address, but really just shedding a version of Brionna that hadn't lived on her own yet, or shedding a version of Brionna that felt like, okay, I can exist within the context of a person or something like that. And, I truly felt like as I was, getting in that U-Haul truck, whatever, going from old neighborhood to new neighborhood, I felt like, wow, okay, this is my new beginning. This is my new commute. This is my new little section of this New York life. And this is my own, new section of my own life story in this city. And then the journey began. So I had the gift of moving into my apartment, met the cast of characters that are my neighbors, and truly a cast. And I started to nest. Now, this brings me to an interesting point in my journey. And point number one I want to make, if you are starting this journey, or if you're doing a moving out journey, if you're living on your own, and you need to learn how to nest and how to get yourself comfortable quickly, point number one, go for walks. As soon as I settled in, I started going for walks, runs. I would go on Google Maps, draw out a little, 1 mile, 2 mile radius, and then explore. Just run. I was playing Beyonce. I was playing Irreplaceable on repeat. I was, just in my feelings and doing all these things. And by running and by getting outside in my new neighborhood, I learned. I saw my neighbors. I saw them in the morning taking their kids to school. I, got to know the afternoon crowd at the cafe, or, I just got to see and be a part of this new breathing organism of a new neighborhood. And that was a big part of my journey of moving on and really moving in by myself and living alone. My journey continues from fall into winter 2023. Again, just nesting. And this is the point when, we got to get the mattress off the floor. We got to, get the bed frame built and get this together and get that together. And I remember I was putting off buying a mattress for weeks at the end of my relationship, because that felt too real. And I'm like, well, if I'm getting a mattress delivered, or if I'm buying a mattress and bringing it back to this place, that means I really do live on my own. And it's like, yes, you do, my love. What a gift. What a gift to have that opportunity to just nest yourself. So I got my Costco card. I got in an Uber, got a mattress, a Casper mattress, and bought a bed frame that a friend of mine recommended, just simple pine, put it together bed frame. And I remember putting my bed frame together, in those first couple weeks and months after moving in to this apartment. And I felt simultaneously proud and very self-sufficient, but also very alone. And I think that's an interesting thing, because it's this feeling of, unless I do it, it won't get done, right? That you have when you do live alone. And I remember, I will never forget pushing that Casper mattress up the stairs in its box after I got it from Costco. And I was like, I have to push this mattress. I have to do this. I have to build this apartment. I have to do all these things. And I did it. And it was successful. And that brings me to point number two about nesting and moving in and living alone. This journey is, do not doubt the power of your own self-reliance. So being self-reliant is such a gift. And when I say self-reliant, I'm not saying you need no one, you need nothing, but the fact that I built the bed that I sleep in, the fact that assembled the bed I sleep in, the fact that I, put my books on the shelf I assembled. Yes, those are things that I could outsource, either pay or have someone help me with, or to have a friend, or, if I lived with a partner, that person would help me, or things like that. But I did it, and I have that memory for me forever of look what you can do. Look what you can do. So when you do get the gift of living alone, use it as a chance to look around yourself and say, like, look what you can do. Look what you can create. Look what you can build. Look at how you can establish yourself in a space. So that's like the next big part of my journey, was really setting up and nesting my home. Now, 2024 begins, right? It's January, it's February, I'm feeling cool, flirty, thriving, living that life. Slight life trauma. My mother passed away, and I'll do a whole podcast about that and a video about that if you're interested. But when I tell you, not only did that upend my relationship with my own self, but really my relationship with my home became that much more sacred. Because after my mother's death, and tending to her business and her affairs, and making sure that her homegoing was successful and beautiful, I crawled back into this home. And I tell you, I was just like, hold me house, hold me house. I was eating mac and cheese out the box, like box mac and cheese. I was making soups. I was just cradling myself, my own little broken heart, because it was broken for a lot of reasons. My mother had passed. I'm now living in this place that, I didn't really plan on living in, and I'm getting new work opportunities, and my career is changing, and all these things are happening. And of course, the one person I want to call, my mom, isn't there for me to call. So my home really became my refuge. Which brings me to point number 3 of my home and living alone journey, is bringing in memories and bringing in kind of pictures of past versions of you and your family and ancestors that can be very powerful in creating a space that you love. My mother's birth certificate's hanging on my wall. I can see it from here. I have a little black angel figurine from my grandmother's cabinet of figurines that I keep in my home. I have some artwork I made framed. I have pictures from my childhood up and on the fridge and everything. And having these reflections of not just myself, but the generations of women of self-reliability and self-sustainability that came before me in my home has made such a difference. Such a difference. And I love that for me. I will leave this with point number 4 of my home journey, or my journey of living alone. After my mother passed, and I'm going through March, summer, fall, winter, filling up my life, right? Trying to be full and have friends, make new community, build new relationships, all of that. I started to feel like my home was not just a refuge and a safe space, but a bit of a gathering place. And I slowly started to inch out and branch out and invite people over, come over for Thanksgiving or just a quick drinks, or come say hi, or bring your puppy, or whatever. And over the course of, I'd say, my year in this house, year and a half, I've really stepped into that. And that is the 4th point of invite community, because that keeps your home fresh. If you are able to have a friend over maybe once a month, a couple times a month, whatever cadence makes sense for you, create that tradition and that regularity of inviting people into your home. I think it's so powerful. I love doing that in my home, and it has really enhanced my living alone journey, and has made it so memorable, because when I walk around these rooms, not only do I see myself and listening to my music, cleaning my house, but I also see the people who I welcome in to do those things with me. So I hope this was interesting. I hope this was valuable. This is a bit of my living alone journey. I will be recording more of these. I just wanted to get this first one out and say, if you do live alone, I hope you are relishing it, and I hope it's challenging you and giving you the opportunities and the space that you need. So I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.